Hello everybody, this is another Hot Wheels collector video. Today we're looking at this brand new recolour for the Lamborghini Reventón. This recolour features in the 2023 N case, and I actually found this car in a local Smith's Toy Superstore. I had seen a few of these in the past, however they were all kind of banged up, or they always had like little issues with them. However, this one is in pretty much immaculate condition. I always try to find the best conditioned version of the car for A, my collection, but also B, for the videos, because I think it's best to showcase the best quality version I possibly can of the car, to give you a real feel for how the car looks. But anyways, that's really it about talking about this car, other than this car is actually a really old casting, first debuting in 2008. It has a few dated things about it, including the front grille. On modern Hot Wheels, they would use like the interior plastic or the base plastic to kind of make the grille look black. But on this one it is just actually in the metal casting and is not a shut-off leading anywhere, so it is just kind of essentially painted in the same colour as the rest of the body of the car. Anyways, let's get into the facts about the real-life cars. This car in real life has a 6.5 litre Lamborghini V12 engine. This car also had two gearbox options. It had a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed E-gear automated manual. This car also produced 661 horsepower and 660 newton meters of torque, converting to about 487 pound-feet of torque. This car was also all-wheel drive and could go from 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, pretty impressive right there. Obviously that is enhanced by the all-wheel drive. All-wheel drives genuinely do have the quickest 0 to 60s, just because they obviously have more traction, driven by all four wheels. This car also had a top speed of 211 miles per hour, and when new cost $1.5 million or £1.2 million. Now this car is valued at $1.4 million all the way up until $2.5 million. That converts to £1.1 million all the way up until £2 million. So this car has actually lost very little value and actually has gained value, depending on obviously the condition of the car. If it's in a little bit more of a rundown condition, the value obviously goes down. But if it's in pristine condition, you would have actually not lost a single penny. In fact, you would have gained money. This car would have been a great investment. And this car is actually quite a limited car and was very rare, and still is rare of course, even more rare nowadays, since obviously a few of them are just no longer on the roads. Quite a lot of them are obviously going to be garaged and will not actually be used. So very rare car, very unique car. Anyways, let's get into the actual showcase of the Hot Wheels model. Alright, so getting straight into this showcase, so first of all take a look at the side of this car. One thing you'll actually notice is the side of this car looks very much like the Aventador, and that is because this car is the predecessor of the Lamborghini Aventador. It shares quite a lot of components, and it was kind of like a test for what people would receive the Aventador as. So they obviously built this car. It was pretty well received, although it was very expensive and overpriced, many people would say. It was well received, and they obviously went ahead with the Aventador, and I personally think the Aventador just kind of improves on everything about this car. But anyways, actually onto the Hot Wheels model now. So I will first of all mention that this car is rolling on the Fan 5-spoke wheels. They actually kind of do suit this car, to be honest. I think it's one of them very few cars that these wheels actually should go on. They are done in a lovely chrome red colour. As for the actual colour of the rest of the car, it is this very weird, slightly metallic red. It looks so beautiful on this car though, in my opinion. It almost looks like it's multi-layered. I'm not entirely sure how the Hot Wheels team create this kind of colour. It's featured on quite a lot of modern Hot Wheels cars now, but it does look fantastic on this car. Looks better in person. I always say that about metallic colours and like these sort of 3D-ish looking colours and paints. I genuinely do think they look better in person. There's no tamper work on the side of this car, however. I'll also mention that there are no wing mirrors on this casting either. That's not a surprise because this casting is very old, as I've already said, and all the windows on this casting are wound up. I'll also mention that the fuel filler cap is actually on this side of the car and features in the metal casting. Finally, in the metal casting you can see that nice side vent. It is not kind of produced in any modern way. It doesn't actually lead anywhere, and thus it doesn't really look that realistic, although it does get the job done. Anyways, moving on to the front of the car. Alright, so taking a look at the front of this car, this is where most of the detail lies. So first of all, I will mention on the actual front bumper of the car, there is no tamper work, but you can see them vents which I've already mentioned. They are just in the metal casting. They are not created using any of the black plastics which feature on this car. Which is unfortunate. It is just one of them things which the older castings did used to do, and it's something that we really can't do anything about. You could obviously paint them yourself using acrylic paint, or you could use some kind of Sharpie as well to add that detail if you so wished. As for the actual tampo work on the hood of the car and the top of the car as well, it features. But anyways, we'll talk about the hood and we'll come to the top in just a little bit. We have the headlights, which have been done in a realistic look. We also have the Lamborghini badge. I'm just going to move the camera slightly so you can see that a little bit better. And you can also see this nice black stripe. You can obviously see the hood does have these little like indents and all that type of stuff. That is just accurate to the real life car. And the splitter of this car is created using that metal. It's in the actual metal casting, it's not black, and that is actually accurate to the real life car. Very nice to see that. Anyways, moving on to the next side of the car. Alright, so this is the next side of the car. This side is the same as the previous, so I'm not going to bore you, but one thing I do want to mention, kind of looks a bit dopey and kind of goofy. But look, for some reason this casting is designed, and it's very similar to the Murcielago casting, which I actually do have. I'll probably put a little kind of segment in here showing you on that. But you can see it's far too far in the wheel arch. It looks very sunken, and it actually makes it kind of look like a fake version of the car, to be honest. Not a big fan of that. It definitely ruins the aesthetic for me. One also thing you'll actually see is the wheel looks far too close to the arch as well. For some reason the rear of the car looks like it's closer to the ground than the front. I don't know how that's happened, but it seems to be an issue with the casting. Definitely something they could smooth out with a retool, of course. But anyways, that's it for this side. Moving on to the rear. Alright, so taking a look at the rear of the car, there is a little bit of tampo work here. The only tampo work here that we can see is the Lamborghini badge, which is being done in a silver tampo. The rear lights on this car are created using the window plastic, and the vents just below them are created using the interior black plastic. I will also mention that the exhaust features in the metal casting, however it does not receive any tampo on this particular model. Even though some of the older recolors of this did have an exhaust tampoed in silver. Kind of unfortunate they didn't do it on this one. And that's really it for the rear of the car. Obviously it just kind of looks very realistic. You can see lots of interesting shapes and design cues in the actual metal casting, but again that's just accurate to the real life car. Anyways, onto the top of the car. Alright, so you can see the top of the car now. You can see there is a little bit of tampo work here, in fact quite a lot to be honest. So you can see the entire roof is done in black tampo, and you can also see a nice red stripe also features there. It kind of reverses the colours, which I do like that. I really do like the colour scheme of this car. I think it suits the car fantastically, and there you can see that interior black plastic once again. You can also actually just about see the engine through that plastic, which is made to represent the real life car's window glass. And yeah, that's really it for the top of the car. Not much more going on. One last thing I do want to mention is this car does not feature any windshield wipers, unfortunately. Again, that's not something that I'm surprised about because this casting is an older one. But anyways, that is it for the showcase of this car. Now on to my final thoughts and review on this thing. Alright, so on to my final thoughts and review on this thing. I think the colour choice is absolutely fantastic. I think this red goes fantastically with that black which features across the car. On things such as the tampo work, striping, the wheels have a lot of black on them. We also have those rear vents which are obviously in black. It all just goes together very nicely. The only thing that lets this casting down is A, it needs a retool for those rear wheels. They kind of do look goofy, as I've said. It also does not feature any wing mirrors or any windshield wipers. So that is unfortunately going to affect my score. Although I do think this thing is beautiful, and this is perhaps the best colour of this to come out ever. It's a real nice recolour for this car. So anyways, that leads me on to my score out of 10. When I give this car out of 10, it's going to be receiving a quite solid and respectable 8 out of 10. Again, if this thing does get a retool, it'll shoot right up to pretty much a 10 out of 10. I think the colour is fantastic, and yeah, it's just a great car. Really happy with this thing overall, but maybe we'll get a retool soon, who knows. But anyways, that is it for this video. So if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Remember, you can also press that notification bell so you do not miss any new uploads. Remember, you can also share this video with any friends, family, and any groups who may be interested in this video. Remember, don't feel pressured to if you don't feel like you have anybody who may be interested. You watching this video all the way to the end means so much to me, and I really do thank you for being it all the way up until this point. But anyways, that is it for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye bye everyone.